Hello everyone. I thought I'd do a quick market update for Tuesday, the 28th of July, 2026. So, today was a big sell-off. So yesterday we had the shorts taken out that were being put in. I think it was over, whoops. So all these shorts being taken out on the Friday. And then going into resistance and 4-hour liquidity in the top. So we'll go to 5 minutes. This was the area, as I always talk about, the waiting for 50% of 4-hour liquidity to be tested for confirmation. So it did on pre-London, so an hour before London. And it stopped with high volume on a weekly FEG. And the middle of that is all the way up here at 69K, which is also the macro top for the last cycle. Now, we'll go to volume, if we can get out of this. And go to volume as well. And 3 minutes, please. So very high volume and then reduction and gradually tapering off. So you do have a trend tapering off there. So that would be the entry trigger that I'd be waiting for. And then there was confirmation on these two areas, these two candles that hit the 50% of liquidity as well for a double confirmation for reversal, which is what I would look for. What else? Whoops, if I can get out of that. And then pretty much a double top with New York AM session, just with high volume, nothing crazy. Two high volume candles coming off a reversal pivot. And then running it back up to the top, testing 5-minute liquidity. So you get 50% liquidity tested, but closed below. And that would be the entry trigger as well, like I always say. 3 minute, you had the high volume, and after that rotation with the pivot, you have closes within 5-minute liquidity. Then you get, pardon me, and then an open and close below the 5-minute, but you get a test at the 50%. And then you get another confirmation with the close, the open here on the sell candle with test of 4-hour, 50% liquidity. And then you get the sell off. So we'll get out of the replay. And then you get high volume sell off there. And then acceptance back under developing monthly value area high. The developing yearly value area high is not represented here, I don't think, correctly. We'll just wait for it to come up. I believe it's lower. Yeah, so developing monthly. And then where is the developing yearly? Okay, there we go. So we get gradually getting stepped closes below, and then we get that high volume open and close below developing monthly value area high. And then you get rotation down. So you get the 200 not necessarily day, but candle, moving average with 1 hour candles. Yeah, 200. So it's representative of the time frame itself. So 200 1 hour candles. So you can obviously change that, but it's on the chart, on the chart itself, not daily. So, and then you get selling pressure in the top with the wicks. So trying to hold price down, you're getting lower closes. And then gradually you get confirmation of a sell-off on a New York PM session at the tail end of that. And then pre-Asia, you get high volume cascade because there's not a heck of a lot that's holding it there, especially with orders that longs that were put in over the weekend. And then that would be the natural target, developing monthly VWAP, and then the potential for a reversal of developing yearly val. So we did confirmation at 50% of 5-minute liquidity on in the bottom here at the moment. I'm still not 100% happy with that. So very high volume candle, put a wick in with aggressive buying, and then you get the 50% tag of that there. You could bring that down, so you do a composite, and the composite would probably be about there, or here. Okay, there, that's even more accurate. So that's what I'd be looking for, and it did do that. We're getting trend up with RSI, so multiple bull divs. My thinking is still either, so developing yearly val is down here, as well as 50% of 4-hour liquidity plus 4-hour support with the open and closes with candles. So that's where I'd be expecting it to go. What else was I wanting to say? So there's CVDs that I'll cover in a second, but so for 4-hour on Binance, we have a head, a shoulder, a head, and another shoulder. So it's indicative of weakness, obviously, but we'll see how this plays out. If we get closes higher than here, then it may rotate back up again, which would be interesting on London or pre-London. The trend is still up though, so we'll see if that is the case. You could go there, you could go here, you could go there. There are plenty of options, but there's still a trend line, there's still support. It could creep around here and then rotate back up, or test 75% of liquidity and then rotate back up. I don't know. But daily, so daily we are, if we get higher closes than here and here, we should be good. And if we, this is the biggest thing that I'll be looking at. An inside break or a retest of the developing yearly val. So, and you have 4-hour 50% liquidity there as well. So if it can come down and test that, get confirmation of acceptance inside, then it'll have rotation back up. If it doesn't and it breaks through support, then obviously take all this liquidity and cascade quite quickly down here. Daily support is a lot lower, 58, so nearly 50, 58.5K, so that's the scary thing. That's what I would be worried about. So you obviously get daily support here at 62.3K, but then you get a large movement down to here, so 6%, and that could come very quickly. So that's the play that I'd be looking at the moment. Whether that happens is another story. We'll see, but anything can happen, obviously. But yeah, untouched liquidity in there. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Oh yes, CVDs as well, like I was talking about. So funding was interesting. So you get rotation of funding after the head was put in, and then you get significant pullback in funding after that. Same with open interest. You also get a cross of CVDs prior to the head being put in. So that would be a signal of weakness potentially right here on the 27th. So, and I think that I think I did explain, so for yesterday, the head was put in on 1 hour or 55 minutes prior to London. So 1600 UTC plus 10. So we will see what happens, but perps define downtrend from that top. I think that was the buying climax on pre-Asia at 8 o'clock. Yeah. And then you get rotation back down, spot rotation as well. So define downtrend as well. And then you get that cross. So potentially sometimes if it's a bottom and you get a cross, you get rotation back up. If it's still a defined downtrend and you get a cross with both looking like weakness, you could get perps trying to push price higher, or it'll rotate as well and have weakness too. So if it's going to do it for me, and that would be the area. So it tested spot CVD for the prior day, and then and you get the cross there as well at 7:30, say 8 o'clock. Anyway, I mean the price action conforms to what I have been saying. So now we are at a point as well with perps and spot where it's at a bottom. We'll go to the 4 hour and see if that's the case as well. It is. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, there is potential for rotation here. If it doesn't get acceptance with developing yearly val, then it's going to be a significant problem. And there is more likely than not going to be a cascade. That's what I'd be looking at. So something to keep in mind if we don't get rotation and acceptance. And it can happen. So what are we on? BingX, we want Binance. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not exactly happy with this, but I would definitely want it to come in and give a high volume test of the developing yearly val. It's so close. And I really don't think people are going to trying to front run it and hold price up. I really do think it will come down here on pre-London or London and put that high volume candle in around here on London Open, and then you'll get rotation. So, but if it doesn't, as I said, think of the cascade as well to 58.5k. That's where I'd be looking at it, around here. And that's around 6% movement from around here. So something to keep in mind. Anyway, I hope this helps. Yeah, sometimes it's not easy to get the entries. Sometimes it is. But as I said previously, the 50% rule on 4 hour and 1 hour and 30 minute and 5 minute have been quite good at predicting where price is going to go. Also looking at 4 hour open and closes. So you obviously have a 4 hour wick in the top. You're wanting price to test it. You could even go and put this up to the 50%. I think that's a daily. Yes, it is. And then you could do, as I said, you have stack liquidity. So you go from 50% of one to a candle closer open. So, and then you have that and you get full 50% confirmation of that. And that's what I'll be looking at as well. So with this, obviously you get lower closes on the 4 hour. You'd be waiting for a swing confirmation to tell price is actually going to rotate. And then it does. So I believe that was on Wednesday open on Asia. So 1 hour after Asia for the new session open. And then it rotated back down. So that would have been a good trade. What are we at now? So if you had taken that, you could have gone, whoops, if it's going to allow me to do it, even down to here at 4 hour support and DY val. So 5.7%. So that's not bad. Obviously you would probably get out on this here and then wait for confirmation of 50% of liquidity in here. And then you could go up into there as well if you really wanted to. And it did swing through it with high volume. We'll go here. And that would have been 4 hour, so up on me, sorry. And then waiting for that. And then you get the double confirmation here with New York. So anyway, where it looks like it is in accumulation at the moment. And then you'll get manipulation. And then it may distribute higher. So something to consider. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope this was informative and good luck with the trades. As I said previously, new month on Saturday. So where is it? Saturday, 1st of August. So look for price movement on Friday with New York and London. And then Monday, especially on pre-Asia and New York PM session. So New York PM session there Sunday, coming into Asia Monday. That's going to be the play. That's going to be the area that's going to have a lot of movement. All right, well, I'll leave it at that. And good luck, and I will see you in the next one.